Joining me now is Armen, Georgian International Affairs Editor. Just how close, Armen, is this vote looking?
Well, Democratic leaders in the House sound fairly optimistic at this point, but of course the situation in Senate is more complicated because there's a 50-50 tie there between Democrats and Republicans. In the House, the Democrats have a majority, but they still have to do outreach to moderate Democrats, so that there's an attempt to balance the progressive and moderate wings of the party to get everybody on board with this social spending bill. Let's just break down some of the key elements of that, Annette. Obviously, a central element of the whole Biden agenda is this expanded social spending, more on childcare, universal pre-kindergarten, expansion of Medicare, extension of child tax credit, and you mentioned climate, $550 billion in climate-related grants and tax credits. Now, I was talking about compromise, so let's have a look at what was left out of the bill in order to get everybody behind what is now on the table. So one of the big changes, if we could show you our second graphic, is climate policy. There's no longer a climate plan aimed at utilities, encouraging utilities to cut emissions. That's gone. Also, some of the spending cuts, as it were. The free community college, plan to cut prescription drug prices. Paid leave, again, another expense which may or may not make it into the final bill. So there has been an attempt to compromise. Now, the key thing as far as the Republicans are concerned is how is all this going to be paid for? Is it going to totally blow out the existing deficit and tank the economy? That's, of course, the traditional Republican position about Democratic spending. So let's have a look at our final graphic on the where this money is going to come from. Well, it's essentially from tax increases. There'd be an expansion in an existing investment tax covering high-income earners, and a new 5% surtax on the super rich, on multimillionaires. So this is the kind of thing that obviously Republicans are not going to like.
Now, this is a tough day, isn't it, for Joe Biden's presidency, following that result in Virginia and, of course, now this vote?
Yeah, I mean, the Democrats really need to get this over the line, don't they, after these recent results. In Virginia, just to remind everyone, Annette, almost a 13-point swing to the Republicans. Virginia was a state that Biden won by 10 percentage points in the presidential election. Youngkin won by what amounts to a 13% swing. And then in New Jersey as well, that's very interesting. Although the Democrats held on to that state in the governor's race there, nonetheless, there was a very big swing as well because that was a state so the final breakdown was 50% for the Democratic, 50.8% for the Democratic contender, and 48.5% for the Republican challenger. So just a wafer-thin difference, about 2 percentage points between the two men. This is a state that Joe Biden won, New Jersey, by 16 points. So that's also a very big swing. And I think both of those results taken together obviously will feed into worries about a Democratic meltdown in the midterm elections.
Which, of course, is happening next year. Thank you so much, Armen, Georgian, for that.